Gabriel Jesus, my Arsenal number 9, says he doesn't like scoring. Surely that can't be. We've already had goalkeepers saying that, their concentration isn't a strong point. Defenders saying defending isn't a strong point. And now our striker says goal scoring isn't a strong point. I don't know. I don't believe he could have said that. But let's see exactly what he said before we get on to him. Big up Jesus, same way.
O gol é inevitável. Eu acredito que não seja o meu ponto forte, porém eu faço gol, eu tô lá para fazer gol, tanto que eu fiz gol aqui na seleção e quando voltar a fazer gol vai acontecer, sabe?
Now, I do think in life it's important to have basic English reading skills and actually have comprehension. Now, we all know the headline, what saw Jesus' name trending on Twitter and social media. It's not as exciting as actually what he said. The man himself said, there are things that bother me a lot in the post-2018 World Cup cycle. I was younger. I had a different mind. Today, I am a more mature man, more educated, a family man. I understand football is a priority for me, and I know I need to be well to do my best, especially in the Brazilian team. There are things that I don't control. I train, I look for, I try, I move, I help the team. The goal is inevitable. I believe it's not my strong point, but I score goals, and I'm there to score goals. So again, is he lying? The man has said, goals are inevitable. I'm there to try and score goals, but goals are not my strong point. I don't think he said anything wrong there. But moving on, he said, when I come back, it will happen. It's work. I work quietly. I'm not one to respond to criticism. I'm not one to be happy for praise. As I was, I won't be anymore. There you have it. Currently, Jesus only has one Premier League goal to date, and it was a fantastic one against Manchester United. So is that necessarily the worst of things? He did say when he signed for Arsenal, it's worth pointing out that I've been playing a lot of different roles at Arsenal. Obviously, when I chose to move from City to Arsenal, Edu and Arteta spoke to me, and I made it clear I'd like to play 9 people, which isn't a lie. And there's also similar comments. I got it mixed up there, but there's also similar comments where he wanted to play as a striker. He made clear he's a number 9 people. So I don't think the man has said anything necessarily wrong there. I mean, it's hard not to love Gabriel Jesus. Brazilians, he brings a winning mentality. He's a man that you want in the trenches. He's a fighter. He gives it all for the team. He puts his body on the line. He even risks his own health, really and truly, because he's always trying to come back from injuries sooner rather than later. That's only the one bad thing I would say about Gabriel Jesus is that since you signed for Arsenal Football Club, you've picked up a lot of 2 different injuries, 2 big injuries. It happens really and truly. I love this guy at our club, people. I think he's a quality player, and I'm sure you lot do as well, people. It's hard not to like Gabriel Jesus and what he brings to the table. But again, he's not lying. He's only scored 70 goals in the Premier League. Currently, he's got 4 goals. He's been saving his best in the Champions League. For Arsenal Football Club. And he then went on to say, people, again, his language has slightly changed. That was Arsenal's idea, for me to play 9 loose. This season has been different. We've had injuries, and in the last few games, I've played 3 up front. For a while, I thought I just wanted to say I want to play 9, but I'm here to help the team. I'm blessed by God to have this talent and versatility to play in all 3 forward positions. I prefer not to choose. That's a very different language from when he said the idea was for him to play as a number 9. And, I think personally, Arsenal need to do what City have and utilize Jesus' versatility, but not necessarily rely on him to score goals, although he needs to. And then when you look back at his time in 2021-22 season, people, for goals, he ranked 26th. For expected goals, he was 8th. For shots on target, he was 17th. For assists, he was 6th, which is his highest on this graphic you can see in front of me. And whatever fast breaks means, he was 25th. So that's what we know with Jesus. He's a facilitator. He makes the team better. He's a man you want in the trenches. But in terms of having a proven pedigree of being a cerebral assassin in front of goal, he currently lacks that. And Jesus is a weird one. I always say the easy chances he makes look hard. The hard finishes he makes look easy, as you've seen with a couple of those that he's put in the Champions League, people. Hard not to like Gabriel Jesus. He's versatile. He's Brazilian. He's experienced. He's a player, that gets fans' bums on seats to go to the ground. He's an exciting player. He's a big game player, whether he scores or not. He's a very important lad. I've got a lot of time for him. Mikel Arteta's got to figure it out, people. It's simple as that. Arteta has to figure it out. At Arsenal, we need a proven goal scorer. The Arsenal fans demand it. The Arsenal fans deserve it. And we scored 80-odd goals last year. Imagine what we do with a guy that can get 20, 30 in the league alone. Now, I don't know about you lot, but I love Gabriel Jesus, but I think it's a weird one, at 26 years of age, having been at Manchester City for a while, having been in the Brazil setup for a while, being a relative household name, you know, Arsene Wenger always used to say 27, 28 is when strikers come into their role, man. He's in and around that. So, you know, if he is going to start scoring goals, he needs to do it now. And if he's not, then this is always going to be Gabriel Jesus, which he's had a top career. He's a top player, really and truly. If he's not going to be a proven goal scorer now, when is the penny going to drop? When is he going to look natural in front of goal? You know, because it's a weird one. I think Gabriel Jesus, and I don't know the reason. I'd love to speak to Jesus and Mikel Arteta. It's not that. I think strikers are born, and I don't think Gabriel Jesus has that knack of wanting to score. I think him being a bit probably too selfless and wanting to get involved in play kind of goes against him. But he's got the ability to score goals. I don't know why he can't do it. As I said earlier in this video, the easy chances he makes look hard. The hard chances he makes look easy. And as a striker, you know, you're not always going to score these glamorous goals. I'm not dissing anything. I know he's not a striker, but in terms of being a proven goal scorer, you know, Mohamed Salah, you look at Harry Kane, you look at Haaland, you know, you look at the area Haaland actually scores his goals from, you look at Aubameyang. Yes, these guys have scored some wonderful finishes and maybe goal of the season contenders, but your bread and butter week in, week out is tap-ins, and Jesus never really is on the end of things like that. So I do think the way he plays goes against him. And to a degree, do we just have to accept footballers for what they are? In that Jesus, when you look at his qualities, you know, at Arsenal, we love his technical ability, his leadership, his willingness to put his body on the line, his link-up play, you know, dribbling, all of these sort of things. The same goes for him in Brazil and at City. But he was never the go-to man. He was never the one he's one that you was looking at to make the difference, but he was never the difference maker per se. And while he signed for Arsenal Football Club and changed our fortunes and upgraded the system and has been a welcome addition, people, are we falling into that trap of what we normally do, in that we take players that are good rotation options, good squad players, good supporting acts, and then we try and make them the main attraction, and then we're kind of surprised as to why ultimately the boots are probably a bit too big for them. I think I speak for every Arsenal fan. We'd love another striker. We'd love the best of both worlds, really. If Jesus could start bagging and we get another striker that's got different qualities, fair enough. You know, it's a weird one because we've got 20 odd goals this season. We've got 80 odd last season. And I think with a proven goal scorer, with us improving our chance creation, we could go up the levels. And obviously with a new addition in that regard. But when you look at trying to fight for the league title, we've got some quality players, but we don't have definitive answers. You know, I believe Saka will get double figures again. He's done it in the last 2 years, but there's no guarantee. He hasn't been doing it for years, really. Martinelli and Odegaard had their first seasons of significant numbers in the Prem. There's no guarantee they're going to do that again, really and truly. And obviously, City is unfair because they're a great team, but you know their players are going to put up the numbers. Those are the cold-hearted facts, and we don't really have that. And there's a reason, you know, Jesus was loved by Pep Guardiola. He's loved by Brazil. You know, they speak glowingly in terms of his qualities, but he's never really praised for his goal scoring. He's been described as a defensive forward, which our first attacker is Rayo Ramsdale in goal. Our first defender is Jesus. So he fits the system and he's a quality player, but it's just goals. And I don't know what it is for Jesus, because he doesn't strike me as someone that isn't going to work hard in training and on the pitch, isn't going to put in the hard graft. But if he's not a natural in front of goal, when will the penny drop? Because for me, he's far too good to not get 20, 30 goals all comps, 20 in the league as a minimum. You know, worse strikers get it. But I don't think he's got that selflessness. I don't think he's selfish enough. And obviously, you've got to be able to score the tap-ins, and Jesus doesn't do that. It's a regular running joke with us Arsenal fans, Gabriel Jesus, his facial expressions. But in relation to what he actually said, obviously, you don't want to hear that in the same way I didn't want to hear Aaron Ramsdale saying he can't concentrate for 90 minutes and stuff. But when you peel back the layers and actually look at what they're doing or what they're saying, you know, in relation to Jesus, he's clearly got great self-awareness. He clearly has a lot of pressure on his shoulders and is dealing with it well. And he's not wrong. Us Arsenal fans, a lot of us Arsenal fans are getting upset about what Jesus said. Like, we didn't know this. These same things he says, we've been saying week in, week out. So I don't know, but I hope he can find his goal scoring boots sooner rather than later. On that note, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Jesus will ever be a striker that can get 20, 30 in the league? Do you think the penny will drop in front of goal? Do you think it's a thing where we have to use his versatility in our favor, a bit like City? He was getting regular games, he was a rotation option, but you weren't the go-to man. Jesus putting the ball in the back of the net ultimately wasn't what City or Brazil are going to live or die by to get 3 points. As I said, he's link-up play, great facilitator, fighter, lovely footballer, mentality is amazing. You know, you've been a good signing for us, but the whole carrot of signing for Arsenal was to take everything you see with Gabriel Jesus of Brazil, everything you saw at City, giving him the platform to, you know, rise in stature, be a go-to man for Arsenal, and ultimately get the goals. You're wearing the number 9, and there's no way around it. You know, we need to get more goals. I know he's had injuries, but the fact that he's only got 1 in the Premier League is crazy. And I mean, the Champions League's a weird one because he seems to be firing in the Champions League. In front of goal, I'd say we've been more clinical in the Champions League than the Prem. Yes, I know we've battered Bournemouth and Sheffield United. Big up them in that regards. I don't know what it is, but we need to see that Gabriel Jesus consistently, or we need to buy a striker. In fact, I'd imagine in the summer, a striker is high on our target list. For me, we need to address central midfield. I hope to God's grace we sign one in January, but I'd assume just merging January and the summer windows. Between those months, people, I think we need 2 centre mids, maybe even 3. I think we need a backup goalie because you'd imagine something has to be done between Raya and Ramsdale. I think we need a striker, and I think, you know, it would be a welcome addition to see another wide man that can compete / play with Bukayo Saka, really and truly. And I'd go one step further and say maybe a defensive body. If we can get another Timber, Tomiyasu kind of type that can play 2 or 3 of the back 4 positions, I think we're cooking, really. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on what Jesus said, what you think Arsenal need. Do you think he'll be a goal scorer or not? Appreciative of you lot tuned in. Take care, stay blessed, one love.
Actually, very nice. Defending, I think, like.